So Game Freak is doing some weird stuff and hiring a bunch of people. It's not for their usual internship program, which a lot of people know about, but rather they're looking for people that have at least 3 years experience. So they're looking for experienced workers here. And it looks like the current estimates at Game Freak for the number of employees, because there isn't an exact head count on their website, seems to be between 200 and 250, somewhere in there. However, they're looking to add at least 37 people in a hiring spree. They made a whole website for it. Now, we say at least 37 because they're looking for at least one person for 37 different positions. We don't know if they're trying to hire multiple people for multiple positions, like they want multiple programmers or multiple 2D artists, or that we don't know because it doesn't list how many they're hiring, but it just lists every position they're hiring for. So it's at least 37 people, probably more. We just don't have an exact count, but that would be one of the biggest hiring sprees Game Freak has ever done in the history of the company, which is pretty notable, just the sheer number of people they're trying to add, especially because we're entering a new generation next year where maybe they need more people to help make their Pokemon games. Of course, we could argue they've been needing more people this whole time, but specifically, we're entering a new system where Nintendo's like, hey, it costs more money to make games, and now Game Freak's actually investing and bringing some people in, or being allowed to invest. I don't really know exactly how the particulars work there.
Wasn't there like a statistic that came out like last week, or at least people were talking about on Twitter last week, about how like the international Pokemon company made more money than Nintendo last year?
Yeah, 10.2 billion.
Which is kind of crazy because Pokemon's like Nintendo, like part of Pokemon is Nintendo.
Yeah, part of that money does go to Nintendo. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not a majority of it doesn't.
I think what's weird about it's not that it's. I don't think it's weird. I just don't think people realize just how big Pokemon is, because Pokemon's not just a video game. It's like, yeah, Pokemon, like the root of Pokemon is the video games, but it's so much bigger than the video games. You have just an insane amount of merchandising. Like I would say, I don't know the numbers, but I'm not afraid about saying this. I'm pretty sure that like Pokemon makes more merchandise than any other Nintendo IP. Like I don't think it's close.
Yeah, it's not even
close. I don't think it's close, right? For whatever reason, people like buying Pokemon stuff more than anything else. But then you also have the shows, the trading cards, right? Like it's just insane.
That number we're talking about with Pokemon, that's just retail merchandise sales. Has nothing to do with the video games. Has nothing to do with Pokemon Go revenue. Has nothing to do with anything other than just pure merchandise. Trading card
merchandise sales made more. Pokemon made more in merchandise sales than Nintendo made last year.
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
$10.8 billion. Now, we don't know how much that's profits, obviously. But the reason this got reported was because the 2023 sales came in for retail for merchandise, and they were ranked as the number 7th in pure merchandise, ahead of Blue Star Alliance, which I don't remember what they make. And Mattel is behind the Pokemon Company. And they're within spitting distance of Hasbro and Warner Bros. Discovery.
That's insane.
Obviously, Disney's number one by quite a lot, but yeah.
The thing about that, right? I think people look at them like, oh, see, that's why the games are shit. But they're just two different things. Like,
I can't say it has nothing to do, but it's not.
It is related though, right? Because the merchandising follows the video game. Yeah. So when people kind of get on Game Freak and Pokemon Company, in terms of like taking their time with their games, there is they do have like a schedule that they kind of need to maintain. Fortunately, though, I mean, all sides are pointing towards them at least having a longer generation this time. They're going back to the 4-year generation gap, which I think is a lot healthier than the 3-year generation gap. I think we can all agree with that. So, sure. I mean, at this stage, I would be kind of shocked if that's not the case, because like Legends ZA is not an early 2025 game at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I put in the notes here that some of the hires could be to help finish up Legends ZA, but given how many people they're hiring, I don't know if that's the case. They have multiple teams, and the thing is, Game Freak does operate a lot like Nintendo. They don't just do these, aren't like temporary. You're with us for 3 months and gone. Some of the positions are contract, but if you actually dig into what it says on the job, it's contract to be hired long term. So like they're like, hey, we need help right now. We might retain you long term. So it's like, probably based on job performance. But It's interesting because obviously we know, I mean, at least we're pretty confident that Gen 10's probably already in development, has been in development for a little while now, because they have multiple teams.
Random tangent. Just want to go back to something I said earlier. Yuka spelled with a C, not a K. Just YUCA. I have to correct myself. Anyway, sorry. Continue with the Pokemon thing. If people are gonna look up Yuka, they should look up. If you Google YUK, you're not gonna find it. YUCA. Who knows? There might be a Pokemon that's based off Yuka next gen. So
here we go.
There might be.
Here we go. He's already pushing the agenda.
Well, Scarlet and Violet was based off Spain, which was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty exciting. It's like, oh,
and despite
I'm not from Spain, but the tropical environment thing, it did kind of hit me because like the environments did feel a little bit like home, so it was kind of cool.
So a few questions we have, like, are we pleased that Game Freak's adding a significant amount of employees to the staff? Are we more shocked at how small the development studio was before this hire? Or does this give us any hope on quality standards with upcoming Pokemon games beyond Legends?
I mean, I feel like more people theoretically should equal higher quality, but that's not necessarily always the case. Because I'm not saying that people they're hiring aren't talented. They could very well be, but you run into the issue of like quality versus quantity. So like you could have a lot of people and your game gets done faster, but the quality isn't always there.
The team needs to be cohesive, right? Like,
right.
If there's not a good connection and working relationship between all the moving parts, it's going to fall apart. Great example, assuming we believe Imran Khan, which I think most people do, right? The prior Metro Prime 4 project was being developed in parts, right? There was probably a large team being put together, but Nintendo didn't go forward with that project because it wasn't a cohesive effort, right? It was in parts. You kind of want something. You want a team that knows each other and is working well with each other. I like, Nick. I feel like I cut you off, so I feel like I should shut up.
Well, I mean, that was pretty much the point of like, theoretically, yes, more people would raise your quality expectations, especially after everything that happened with Scarlet and Violet, because I feel like that's the direction they should go. Because like, Pokemon games should be good. Like I don't know, just make good Pokemon games. It's really disheartening as someone who's like getting into Pokemon. Everyone, like I asked, like, what game should I start with? What game should I play? And everyone's like, well, you need to emulate this, emulate that. And I'm like, no. If I want to get into Pokemon on my Nintendo Switch that I own, what do I start with? And everyone kind of rolls their eyes and they're like, I mean,
Pokken Tournament.
Well, you could start with this one, but it's not as good. And I mean, you could play the remake of the old one, but it's not the same. And I'm like, okay, they can't all be bad. Like, and I mean, I've been playing Shining Pearl, and it's been fun.
Like, I don't know what to recommend to people because I think Legends is great, but it's also not representative of most of the series. Scarlet and Violet, I think has a lot of cool ideas, but the execution is poor. Sword and Shield, I mean, maybe Sword and Shield.
That's what I would say.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If I'm talking to a new Pokemon fan, I'm going to tell them to play the latest Pokemon game because that's where the series is going in the future. I don't want to set them up so then the next games come out and they're radically different than their expectations.
That's a good point. You know, I could see that.
For all its issues, that's the future of Pokemon.
Nick, did you start one?
I did. I started Shining Pearl a couple weeks ago. I was playing it on stream. I'm like chronicling it on stream because I've never played one. And I think Shining Pearl is fine. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's gonna be so bad," and
so that's the thing about it. No, the thing you're playing for the first time, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have any expectation of what it's supposed to be. Like, I'm not comparing it to the original.
I don't like the original either.
It's beneficial for you.
Also, you probably would like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Like, being real, like you're probably gonna like it. Like, if you like Brilliant Diamond, you're probably gonna like Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
I love Let's Go Pikachu.
Yeah, they're good.
They're cool.
They're good games.
It's Gen 1, but the Pokemon are in the world. It's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyways, no, so yeah, I mean, the bottom line is, like, for me, like someone super chatted this in to make sure I feature this because Joe Merrick, you guys don't know, he's a really big name in the Pokemon universe of covering Pokemon stuff from Cerebi. I said the Game Freak hiring thing isn't really news, as this is common for Game Freak, as they do it frequently and multiple times a year. So I was digging into this. They do hire frequently. It's the amount of people they're hiring. They usually hire in like 10 to 12 person batches. Here they're hiring like 40 plus in one go, which is the more unusual thing. But yes, they are known to use temporary contract employees more often than any other company. That
if you could get good sourcing for that, that would be a good thing to point out in the video.
Besides retro, obviously they use a lot of contract employees. Good sourcing on what? The temporary or the
important distinguishing factor between the temporary and quantity versus what this is. Like if you have good like evidence to show that, because it's a good counter argument, right? Because people just this is clickbait, but it's not clickbait if it's clearly different.
Yeah.
Have you guys noticed? And just a more broader piece of this is that it seems like every time, and you guys will all know if this is accurate or not, or if it's just in my head. But it seems like each time Nintendo, any sort of news comes out about hiring or about how it's like the greatest company to work for in Japan, how it was voted, it seems like either the same day there's an announcement of a huge layoff at Sony or Microsoft, like Bungie, obviously. That was announced today. And it seems like the news cycle with Nintendo and some other company happens in conjunction with each other. I feel like the last one was possibly something with Xbox, but
those people that got fired at Bungie should move to Japan and work for Game Freak.
Yeah.
Why not?
Doubt it. Yeah, it did.
By the way, Nate, I do want to say
They got families.
I really appreciate. I mean, living in Japan would be a good experience. But anyways, I really appreciate how you took the time to leak Gen 10 footage in your background. Like those water Pokemon look crazy, bro. Right? I love it. What is that, dude? Like, is that the water starter?
I'm just no. It's the next Pokemon Snap. Get it right.
Based off Gen 10.
No, Bandai Namco.
It's actually Endless Ocean, but a better version of it.
Hey, people love Endless Ocean. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Some people, like 20.
Yeah, you mean the people the game was made for. See, that's the problem with Endless Ocean. It's made for a very niche crowd, and that crowd loves it. Other people can't get into it, but those other people couldn't get into the old Endless Ocean games. So
the thing is, I'd probably play it, but I would never beat it.
Better to have 20 real fans than 100 fake fans.
Now you're trying to run a business.
That's true.
Yeah.
Never trying to run a business.
I mean, you're not wrong, but
hey, we don't know. I don't know what the sales of that game are.
Yeah,
anyway,
we don't.
Getting back,
we might find out later this week, though.
Getting back on track. Yeah, guys, I don't know. We have sales updates for Nintendo games this week.
Yeah.
Nice. Don't think there's a Q&A at this one, though, guys. For people hoping that there's going to be a Q&A where maybe, like, Furukawa hints towards things, there isn't a Q&A scheduled for this one.
Week. All we're going to get is a Switch 2 trailer.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Right. When they told us to Switch 2 news, it wasn't in the Q&A. So it was just on Twitter. So who knows what just watch that Nintendo company IR thing. Just pay attention, because Furukawa.
That's this week is the sales thing?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I
What's
mean,
the day?
fiscal quarter
Wednesday.
2 closes today.
Like tomorrow.
Tomorrow's quarter 3.
We might find out in 3. We might get the Switch 2 trailer in 3 hours. Guys, I'm kidding. All right, like just so we're clear, I'm just shooting the shit, right? I am not being serious at all about anything except for that snake in the water behind you.
You don't want to lock that prediction in.
Start is very good at derailing every topic today.
That's right. I'm the derailer.
Uh,
If it's not derailed, it's not a good topic.
So Nick, what were you saying?
I was just asking Andres if he wanted to like lock that prediction in for the trailer. Like, you don't want to like 100%. It's coming in 3 hours.
Challenge bet. Let's go. I'll take that bet.
I'm not taking that bet.
What do you mean? You just gotta have your whatever thing that you're praising that needs to become a Pokemon food item that I'll never eat.
Yeah.
What? Never? Oh,
I'll
come
probably
on.
never eat it
Why not?
because
Why?
I'll never remember to get it.
Bro, I'll take you to Pollo Tropical next time you're in Miami.
Yeah,
It's
you
cheap. It's a cheap date. It's fast food, but it's better than fast food. It's good
a
food.
cheap date. I have to go to Miami. That's already not cheap.
Fair. But I'll at least take it to Pollo.
I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah.
At least the food will be
Yeah.
cheap.
Yeah.
Anyways, I for me, I do think that some of the hiring is prep. Some of it's obviously temporary contract employees, probably to help finish up Legends, if I had to guess, because that's supposedly coming out next year. And I say supposedly because we have no idea. Delays could happen. Pokemon delays are very, very rare, but we'll see. I think it's interesting because for me, the great hope every time I hear the Pokemon company's hiring is, hey, are they finally going to like put more effort into their games? But then, hey, also new hardware is coming that's going to require more people just to keep doing what they're already doing, which isn't that great. And by the way, like when you hear like Game Freak only has 200, 250 employees, that's not all the people that work. They outsource a ton of work. Like Creatures Inc. is not counted in there, and Creatures Inc. does a lot of the graphic work. So like, and I'm not saying graphic work and they do the programming for it. They do a lot of like the designs and stuff like that. So I just feel like Pokemon's in this place where we see a story like this and we want to get our hopes up that it means something significant, and it probably doesn't. Like, I think that's kind of what Joe Merrick was getting at. It wasn't like trying to downplay that they're hiring. It's more so if you think this is going to make a big difference at the company, it probably won't, even if it's more people than they usually hire.
I mean, the big difference is they're taking a year, an extra year here. Like this year.
Yeah, there's nothing this year. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing this year.
That's the good news. The best news we've gotten is no news. As weird as that sounds. In the case of Pokemon.
There's a Pokemon remake this holiday, and we're going to hear about it tomorrow.
That'd be wild.
There's I mean, there could be a Pokemon Presents coming here in August.
There will be, but there will not be a Pokemon remake announced in August.
Because I can see November. Minimize backlash of the next BDSP by only giving people 2 months to bitch.
So this is what you do. You announce a Pokemon remake for November. People get pissed, but then 48 hours. Listen, all right. I know it's the Yuka, but I was talking about my live stream last night. Like August theoretically could be crazy, because like we probably will get Echoes of Wisdom news soon, right? So we'll get Zelda news. We kind of have to get Emio news before it comes out.
Yeah,
there's probably gonna be a Pokemon Presents based off the last 3 years because there was a second one in August, and there's a solid chance that the Switch 2 is discussed this month. That would be a crazy, like, I would say probably not all those things are going to happen in August, right? But there's a good chance a lot of it will.
So, hey, Gamescom, right? Sure. Obviously here in August, and Game Freak's going to be there.
Yeah, Game Freak's there, but Nintendo's not this year.
Publicly.
Well,
publicly, yeah.
Behind
closed the hopes they're there behind closed doors, yeah.
Nintendo was there last year, and it wasn't public. But Nintendo's just literally not going to be there.
And they also got mad.
It was only in the business section, and their whole booth was an enclosed thing, and only select media got to go into it. So, like, Nintendo was at Gamescom last year, but they did nothing publicly. There was no public demos for anything. There was no advertising. It was literally just a tent that only select people got to go in.
But that's where supposedly we got the Matrix and Breath of the Wild tech demos.
So that's what I'm saying. Like when it's announced ahead,
Nintendo's
not there. I just think they're just not there. I think they're just skipping out.
Do you think Game Freak's doing anything though? I mean, they're there for a reason. What is it?
Legends DA. Well, actually, they are pushing something this year. It's the trading card game app. Like that actually might be a pretty big deal. Like we're kind of sleeping on it because it's a mobile game, but
for
it's
them,
probably going to make them a lot of money.
Yeah,
I'm probably going to download it.
And at every event I see Pokemon go to, they always have trading card stuff going on. So it could just literally be just a big trading card event for them.
Trading cards a cash cow. Mobile games are a cash cow. Use them. Bro, this is a Yuka, bro. I'm going crazy.
Yeah, I know, dude. What is happening with Andre?
I don't know, man. We worked chest today. It's not as bad as legs, but maybe the blood flow is a little off.
Is there like a Metroid at the back of your brain right now, just sucking on? Something's going on.
Nothing. Oh, is there anything?
No, I don't think so. All right. Anyone else have anything else they want to add to the Pokemon stuff?
I mean, you basically took the words out of my mouth. It's really, you hope they keep these people permanently so that they can actually put out a decent product at when they
I love how
at the
you're just
beginning.
like hopefully a decent, like it's like so much like we just know it's gonna make no difference.
I don't think they're gonna have back-to-back episodes like this.
Well, I think
At all.
Legend CA I think is gonna end up just fine. I actually fully believe the team that made Legends just literally went on to start working on Legend ZA right after.
Yeah,
Honestly,
because they have. I think they have 3 teams, and they kind of just
and
like.
so, like that team has earned my trust inside Game Freak that they're going to put out something that it might not look visually great, depending, but it'll run well and have good gameplay concepts to go with it.
It's all
And
relative.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, we can say it's relative, but like Pokemon Legends does not look very good visually. It's not a visual.
And see, the thing is, you say that, but I actually like how it looks.
No, I'm not saying that I don't like how it looks. It is still not. It's just there's jaggies everywhere,
right.
blurry.
All right,
But
like,
I would rather have that over what they did in Scarlet and Violet, where
sure.
it's a little. They push the graphics a little more, but it runs like shit. There's other issues.
I'd like to see an HD 2D treatment for Pokemon.
Yeah, if they want to remake Gen 1 for the 5th time, do that.
That would
Yeah, I agree, Andres. If they want to remake it
Because I'll buy
for
it.
the 5th time,
I'll
do
buy
that.
it.
I would
Yeah.
too. Because I feel like that's how it would happen, right? It would be in a remake scenario. I don't think they would do that for
they're not
the new
going back.
direction.
They're not
But
going
it would
back.
make
They're only
sense for
going
that.
forward. Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because people don't like the art style, right? Of the current remake, the
Oh,
Was it
Brilliant Diamond Shining
Brilliant
Pearl.
Diamond. Yeah.
Oh, I'll take HD 2D over that any day.
Yeah.
I mean, hot take. I don't think it looks that bad.
Oh, no, I
No, it
agree
doesn't.
with you. It doesn't
It doesn't
bother
look
me.
bad.
But I know a lot of people, like out on Twitter, Reddit, talk down about the graphical style, and that actually they won't even play the game because they can't look at it. It's like, oh, okay, suit yourself, whatever. That's
a
not
little-
how I roll, but
much.
I respect it. But I feel like HD 2D would make everybody happy.
You want to know what's on my mind right now?
What?
Yuka?
Astral Chain, 60 frames per second. Switch to-
That's what's on your mind.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
a good candidate.
On my mind. All right.
Yeah, I was just thinking about art style as an Astral Chain. Like, I don't know. It's
Dude,
interesting.
Astral Chain is awesome.
Astral Chain is off the chain.
Yes, it is.